Mike Tyson went from being one of the wealthiest and best boxers of all time with a net worth of $400 million at his peak to filing for bankruptcy in just a matter of years. This is how Mike Tyson literally burnt through $400 million from making poor financial decisions and rape allegations that basically ended his career. Mike Tyson has been through everything. Right, Mike Tyson was making a staggering $8 million per fight. People wanted to see Tyson fight, and because of this immense popularity, he was making tons of money. So what went wrong? Problem was, this was all new money to Mike Tyson, and he didn't know how to manage his money properly. The fact that he became a millionaire in his teens also didn't help at all. But the boiling point, the one thing that made him spend all his money, was when he went to jail. The reason Tyson was sent to jail is because he allegedly raped a woman, which Tyson denies to this day. When Tyson was released from jail, he was full of anger and bitterness, and he channeled all that anger into his opponents. This was prime Mike Tyson. And also to relieve his anger, Mike Tyson spent a crap ton of money. He went berserk first by buying 131 cars. And knowing Mike Tyson's standards, these weren't any cheap cars. They were extremely expensive. Bentleys, Ferraris. He even bought the most expensive production car of its time. Grand total, he spent $6.3 million just on cars. And a lot of these cars he gave away as gifts.
Remember that? He said, I gave you that car, right? I said, what? He said, I gave it to you. I wanted you to have that.
Tyson even claims that he bribed a police officer to take his car just to get out of trouble.
Asked me to arrest her, so I said, well, nothing happened, officer. Nothing. And it was the guy with a broken arm. I said, sir, why don't you just take the car? You deserve it because you've been through.
Now here it might look like Mike Tyson was blowing through his money, but that was only scratching the surface. Now that he had all those cars, he needed to put them somewhere. So Mike Tyson bought multiple mansions. His most lavish mansion had 51 rooms in it. Later on, that same mansion was sold to 50 Cent for $5 million. And 50 Cent claims that it was his worst financial decision because the property was so big, it cost him around $1 million just to maintain it every year. Now, when you think it can't get worse than that, it does. Tyson went ahead and purchased 3 tigers, including one extremely rare white tiger. The tiger cost $70,000 just to buy, and an additional $200,000 of food, which is $1,500 every day. Or the crazy incident where Mike Tyson walked into a bar and offered to pay for everybody's drink for the rest of the night. Now, this was where Mike Tyson's career was also going downhill. Because after going to jail, Mike Tyson was never the same boxer. With his career going to waste, there was one last thing that made Mike Tyson go completely bankrupt. People were stunned to find out that the world champion owed the IRS $13 million. This is because Tyson wasn't paying his taxes.
Do you regret anything?
Yeah, and I didn't pay taxes really at that time.
That'll get you, yeah.
The other problem was all these luxury purchases Tyson was making, he was making on credit. So he was $23 million in debt to banks and other institutions. Now Tyson had a crazy idea to get out of this debt. He had a few fights lined up and all he had to do was win. These fights would have made him $14 million. But this wasn't prime Tyson anymore and he ended up losing all the fights. Now after all this, Tyson was forced to file for bankruptcy. This was arguably the worst and lowest point in Mike Tyson's life. At this point, Mike Tyson really began to hate himself. He said in one of his interviews, "I hate myself. I'm trying to kill myself." Even going on to saying that, "I didn't think I would make it out of my 30s. At this point, Tyson was very desperate to at least get some money. He even did small cameo roles in movies and TV shows like The Hangover or The Last OG. And very recently, Tyson was also called out by YouTuber/boxer Jake Paul. And now Tyson is set to fight Jake Paul very soon. If this whole fight actually goes down, Jake Paul claims this will be the biggest fight of all time.
Plan on this being the biggest fight of the 21st century, dummy.
Now, nobody knows why Jake Paul wants to fight an almost 60-year-old Mike Tyson, who legit has to use a cane to walk sometimes, versus Jake Paul, who's probably in his prime. To make it worse, this fight recently got postponed, and the reason is actually shocking. So a few days before the fight was gonna happen, Mike Tyson experienced some health problems. Now this looks really bad on Jake Paul's side. He's fighting an old man basically with health problems. But if you look at it from Mike Tyson's perspective, it's a good thing, because by participating in this fight, Mike Tyson's gonna make a crap ton of money, and all the views this fight is gonna get is gonna bring Mike Tyson back to the mainstream media. But we all know that if Tyson was in his prime, he would have easily knocked out Jake Paul. But even before Jake Paul called him out, Mike Tyson made a huge comeback. He is nowhere near bankrupt anymore, and he's actually doing very well for himself. He got back in great shape at almost the age of 60, and even stepped back into the ring to fight Roy Jones Jr. He was paid $1 million for this fight, which helped him in his comeback. Tyson's podcast, Hot Boxing, also did pretty good. Mike Tyson is nowhere near the wealth and power he once used to have. He's definitely making a comeback, and it's super respectable. If you like this video, consider subscribing because a lot of hard work and time went into this video.